How's it going, everybody? Raising Hell here, and welcome back to another episode of Civilization 4 Beyond the Sword, in which we are playing as Holy Rome and attempting to take over Europe. So far, we have beaten France, beaten the Byzantium Empire, and beaten Russia. They are currently all our vassals, so things are going quite well. And most likely, our eyes will be turned towards Spain in this episode. So, some small changes here. I've started building the palace in Rome now that I don't have to worry about Bremen. Is it Bremen? Yes, Bremen potentially being co-opted by the French Empire. See, before the French had their cities here, obviously in France, and I was worried that their amount of cultural pressure on Bremen would cause it to flip to Louis if I removed my palace from that city. Since Louis is no longer a factor in Europe, we don't have to be worried about that anymore. So I have upgraded my trebuchets and catapults to cannons now that I have steel. And for now, we're just going to wait for them to heal. And a revolt has taken place in Athens. What do I need? 8.13% chance of revolting. We probably should put more units in there. We can remove 3 units from Danzig. I have enough happiness to support that. So most likely I'm going to be... I might not even need hereditary rule anymore. It seems I have enough resources now to keep my cities happy without the need for military presence in that city. But see, the idea here, in case you're not aware of what's going on, is the city revolted. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to build a farm on this tile. No, I'm going to put more units inside that city, which will reduce the chance that it can revolt. If your city is over 50% another civilization's culture, there's a chance that it can revolt to them. So, for example, in Athens, there's an 8.13% chance every turn that the city will revolt. Now, I'm not sure that, because Justinian is my vassal, I'm not sure he can actually get the city back. But in other cases, the city would actually flip to the predominant culture civilization if it revolted more than once. So that's why it's always important to crack down on these revolts, and the best way to do that is simply by stationing additional military units in the city. Now, in my case, the only penalty I think I'm going to incur is 2 turns of inactivity for that city, which is still quite significant because it's not going to be producing anything in those turns. So getting more units into the city, especially strong units, is recommended. It's the best way to deal with revolts in cities, in Civilization 4. Okay, we'll do that. He has an overseas empire, so that's going to increase our trade routes. You get like 100% boost for having an overseas trade route. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we actually have any trade routes with his cities. His cities are relatively small, so not very lucrative, but they'll probably grow throughout the time we play this, so I really have no issues. I mean, obviously he's going to be benefiting from me or from having trade routes with my cities more than I'm going to benefit from him, but when you're in the lead, there is sort of a diminishing returns you're going to get in terms of benefits from other civilizations, dealing with other civilizations, etc. And Louis is friendly. So yeah, definitely Spain is becoming a problem here. As you can see, they have overwhelmed my city, especially of Bordeaux, with Spanish culture. That means we're going to have to do something about that. So, let's get the cavalry going here. What would be the fastest way to capture? Probably 2 turns to Cordoba. So we'll position the cavalry right there on the edge of the borders. Get the cannons. And what else? Probably need a couple of riflemen. Made the mistake last time of not including enough riflemen in my stack. So, you go there. I think 3 from this city. So now we have all of these units. What are the diplomatic consequences of declaring on Isabel? Ragnar will declare on me because he's our vassal. Other than that, just a bunch of people being upset that I attacked their friend. Pretty much everybody likes her, so that's going to be a -1. But I mean, at this point, it's not really all that important. And why do I say it's not relevant? Well, because really at this point in the game, we're just biding our time until victory. It's pretty much inevitable, I think, but my objective was to take over Europe, and we're still going to focus on that. She does not have cavalry, and she doesn't have infantry, so I think we can take her on. How is our power ratio? Spain, so they're relatively good. Like, they're the number 4 power in the world at the moment. Only the Chinese and the English are above them. So we're going to actually be taking on a significant empire here. And like I pointed out before, we're also going to be taking on the Viking Empire. So how do they have cavalry? Well, military science enables the grenadier. They have military tradition. Right. So if we look here at the technology tree, military tradition used to use the same icon that military science used. So if you played the original Civilization 4 game, military science, this technology did not used to exist, and that icon for it, the little bugle, used to be the icon for military tradition, which is why I got that confused. Yeah, military science only enables the grenadier, which means that Isabel does have cavalry. Okay, well, I guess we're just declaring war. All right, what are our odds here? She's 2 of her units in my land. Okay, let us advance inwards. Even Montezuma is willing to trade with me now. He converted to my religion. I don't like the guy.
When I give food to the poor, they call me a saint. When I ask why the poor have no food, they call me a communist.
Now, I did not get a great spy because I was not the first to discover this technology, but this will enable state property as a civic, which we will convert to. I think we're also going to switch to bureaucracy as soon as we get another golden age, because when we have a golden age, and we can switch civics without any anarchy. Of course, there is going to be a loss in the interim. How close are we to getting another great person? Oh, we can actually do a golden age right now. You might actually do that. Let's do that. We're going to do a golden age, and now we're going to be able to do state property and bureaucracy. I don't know. Should I do representation? I think we should. I don't think I need to have nearly as much military presence in my cities anymore to keep them happy. So let's see which cities are unhappy. Which of them have a deficit of happiness? Right now, none of them. So it was a good decision to do that, because now all of our specialists also produce 3 beakers of science. So that's going to be quite significant, I think. And bureaucracy means we're going to have 50% greater production and the gold in the capital city. And then state property means our workshops yield 1 additional food. So now workshops are actually not a negative. You know, I'm actually getting 6 production for them. We're going to be very productive now. We're focusing on workshops. And with the synergy of civics we have the caste system, which gives us the additional 1 hammer from workshop. And then we have state property, which we also get a food from the workshop. So we're really combining some good civic synergies here. Obviously, we won't be able to do corporations with communism, or what it's called, state property. We won't be able to do any corporations with state property, which is why I decided to use those great people for starting another golden age instead. Why? Okay, there's a lumber mill here. I wanted to build a mine on this so we can actually get access to the coal on that tile. So what should we research next? I'm actually quite big on the idea of going for assembly line, but that will require corporation. And it will obsolete the Great Lighthouse. I don't think I've built a Great Lighthouse, so that's not a big deal. It'll also enable Wall Street. Yeah, so I think we're definitely going for assembly line because Elizabeth already has infantry, if I recall correctly. Let's do that. We've built a palace in Rome. This levy would actually be 9 additional hammers per turn. That's actually quite significant. Probably should build that first. Even though we are at war, it's generally not recommended. If you look at Elizabeth here, she already has infantry in her cities. So we're lagging a bit behind on that, which is why I'm going to attempt to catch up. So we are on a military parity, at least in terms of technology. The largest civilizations. I am only Charlemagne's the mediocre, really. The Chinese Empire and the Arabian Empire. And Genghis Khan has a larger empire as well. Wow, I did not know that he had such a large empire. Stop trading with the Milanese Empire. No, I think I have most of the votes on that, so it's not a big deal. Wow, yeah. Apparently this empire is bigger than mine. Obviously, it's not going to be as productive because... Wait, what? Ragnar's reduced defenses in Ribe. Oh, he has a ship. Okay. Yeah, obviously being in Europe is more productive than being in Siberia, essentially. Mongolia and Siberia. That's really all Genghis has to expand to. So is there anything important I missed here? Bordeaux revolted. Obviously a bad thing. Chance of revolt was not very high, which is why it surprised me that happened. But what that did was it damaged all of our units in here quite significantly. So it's a good thing that Isabel is not trying to take that city right now, otherwise that could be a significant disadvantage for me. So we've bombarded, reduced the defenses of Cordoba down to 0%, so next turn we can actually start attacking, I believe. And what are our odds now of this city revolting? 2.81. It's still, there's a chance of it revolting. I upgraded that rifleman, barely. 2.19. Oh, there's still a significant chance of it revolting. I might get some more units down there. How many units do we have in Rome? We can probably spare another rifleman. Yes, indeed we can. I really don't want this city to revolt. Again, I'm not sure if I'll lose it, but it's better if we don't test that. So Mansa Musa is actually upset with me. Why? I declared war on his friend twice. And here I was defending our trade routes with you, boy. So that will give us an additional trade route per city. Yeah, the resolution failed. Pretty much everybody voted no who had significant votes. We have 3 trade routes now. Unfortunately, is there anything that we're being penalized on for trade routes? See, 3 trade routes is what we had before, actually, with the free market. Then we adopted state property, and we lost that 3rd trade route, but now we got it back by research incorporation. Yeah, I don't want you to keep building cannons here. Build more culture. Thank you. So what are our odds here? It is on a hill. Cordoba is on a hill, which is unfortunate. But we're going to attack anyway. That has weakened them significantly. We're just going to save that cannon. So what are our odds? 25%. What are our best odds with the cavalry? 46%. Okay, we're going to use the cavalry that can retreat. Here. We have a 61% chance of retreating, and that actually won. That was unexpected. Usually the odds are against you. Okay. Okay, those are the only units I have that can actually retreat. The only cavalry I have. Okay, we're doing quite well here with the cavalry, even though there's a 25% bonus that riflemen have against cavalry. You win a few, you lose a few. In this case, I lose more often than I win, it seems like. Thanks for giving her that great general, guys. 90% chance. Can't blame it. I mean, if you only complain when you lose, it's not fair. Because obviously they get some crappy odds as well. I think we're going to keep the city. So just Santiago now. Probably should move a couple of these. Should at least move 1 rifleman into that city. Since it's on a hill, that will be pretty effective in defending it. And another cannon. Now this cannon is going to have to go ahead and replace the multitude of cannons that we lost over here. So now we want to go for assembly line as our next research so we can get access to infantry. I've completed a levy in Rome. We're going to work on a cannon next. Even though I could have built the ironworks in Rome for an additional 50% productivity with coal and iron, I should do that. So maybe after this war, we can invest in that. Rome will really be a power to be reckoned with. Build culture in Cordoba, and I do not want to build a hermitage in the city, build a library. There is a rifleman up here, okay. It's just on our borders. They're not really going to pose any threat to our cities, so I'm not going to pay much attention to that. Everybody move into Cordoba and heal. So, anything important that's been going on? No, not really. A lot of civilizations are researching railroad. It means that once Isabel completes railroad, she'll actually have access to machine guns, which are significantly more powerful than our units, our riflemen, but they cannot attack. So, I mean, it may be more difficult to attack her, but she's not going to be using that too effectively against us. So I'm going to get these cannons moving over to Cordoba to replace the ones that we lost. And that's the thing, right? I mean, even though we'd be outpowered in terms of like unit to unit, matching them up. Once we use units that deal collateral damage, we can even those odds much more easily. It's not going to be as much of a problem, the mismatch in unit power, because once they're softened up, things become quite easy. I probably should actually build an ironclad. Yeah, that'd be an interesting idea. I'll probably build an ironclad in that city, and then we can deal with Ragnar's frigate continually bombarding my city defenses. Okay, we need more culture in this city. Is there anything we can do to give us culture? University will give us 3. And the library is always good for some small culture. 3 turns to heal. Come on, guys. What is this? Does anybody here have the medic promotion? Yes, they do, and it still takes 3 turns to heal. Okay, well, we're just going to go with that. I'm a little bit worried if I move my cannons along there that they're going to get attacked. But I mean, the AI does this all the time, and apparently they are getting away with it. What did I do? I wanted you to move, actually. Put him to sleep? What command did this unit have? I loaded it onto my galleon. Okay, well, actually, this might be a better idea. We can just sail it right over to Cordoba. That would be faster than 1 tile per turn. Okay, and now Athens will no longer revolt. We have enough units in here and enough culture to prevent Athens from revolting to the Byzantium Empire. We should actually build workboats in this city, now that I think about it. You build a workboat, and Constantinople should also build a workboat. Any other tiles need improvements on the sea? No. Okay. 2 workboats will do it. Oh, Isabel showed up with a cannon. Not too worried about that. This has 2 movement. We can move 2 there. Get the cannon. Load it into Cordoba, and then move the galleon 2 back, and then we'll take all the cannons and load them into the galleon. Excellent. A revolt has taken place in Constantinople, really. What were the odds? Oh, they're growing 4.5, almost like 5%. So we need more units in Constantinople now. I'm going to wake up crossbowmen, longbowmen, and these 2 pikemen. All these units are going into Constantinople in an attempt to prevent any more revolutions over there, or revolts. They're not actually seceding from me yet. Once we have railroads, we can start improving the productivity and speed of our transportation network. I think this city has pretty much built all the buildings it needs, and we're going to build a research now. It was actually quite significant, like went from 930 research a turn to 980. I mean, that is one thing you have to keep in mind, is if your city is running out of useful buildings to build, just build wealth or research in them instead. It's a much better investment. But like stuff like the intelligence agency, that will actually give me a well-needed boost against the enemy in terms of espionage points. We don't want them to outflank us too much, otherwise we're going to see greater spy activity in our borders, which is something I'm not really interested in having to put up with. Elizabeth wants us to adopt free religion. I don't think that's a good idea, actually, because all of our cities are benefiting. Not a whole lot, actually, just 1 happiness and 1... But see, if we adopt free religion, we will no longer have a state religion, and then we don't have the votes in the Apostolic Palace anymore. Whatever, we're going to declare war on her anyway, eventually. Obviously, she has better units than me. How can these units not be healed yet? 1 turn. Excellent. Why is Danzig unhappy? We demand emancipation. Oh, come on. That is becoming a serious issue. What do we have to give up for emancipation? Caste system, which gives us 1 from workshop. No, we're not actually doing that. Okay, we're going to have to build something in here that makes them happier. I think we're going to go for the market. Because when another civilization adopts emancipation, then we're just going to have to deal with the same unhappiness problem all over again. And I'm not interested in doing that. Okay, we have our first ironclad here. Where are you now? He was messing with us before all the time. I think he traveled down here. Well, right there is Isabel's frigate. So let's attack that instead. Our odds are not exceptionally good, but it's better than just letting them have free roam in the, what is that? The Atlantic right there. Okay, what do we want in here? I really should probably build more military units, but I like building them in Rome because I get the additional experience points. And we're going to go back to building the lighthouse now that the workboats are complete. Oh, isn't that nice? The city actually defected. Bordeaux has joined the Spanish Empire. Wonderful. Isn't that just great? Now I can go ahead and capture that all over again. So, what am I going to do about this? Immediately got 2 riflemen. We have cannons here, so we can lay siege to it right away. Yeah, so if you're wondering how this happened, it was a peaceful takeover. She had enough culture pressure on that city to cause it to revolt twice. If we look at the city, can we enter the city? Yeah. We have enough espionage points against Isabel to be able to view inside our cities. Of course, cities that are further away from you require more espionage to view. It is 15% Spanish versus 6% or so Holy Roman, which is why she was able to flip it. Now, that was not something that she was able to decide to do. It was just simply bad odds on my side. I got stuck with some bad odds there. Still 1 more turn for this. Unbelievable. And then we're going to take 2 turns to get to Santiago. Why did Justinian cancel? I suppose he already has wine? Let's negotiate this. We didn't have open borders? Come on, let's do this. So the open borders was a positive, though. And Isabel made peace with Genghis to focus more on me. And the Chinese have completed the Statue of Liberty. Okay, all cavalry move there. She has a few riflemen. Isabel in Santiago. Should not be a problem, though. And then we're going to bring at least 2 of these riflemen with us to help defend the stack. You guys stay there. Right. Skip turn. Next turn we will be within range. Danzig is still unhappy because I have not finished the market. There is not much productivity around here. I probably should actually turn the town into a workshop. Going to lose some gold on that, but at least the city of Danzig will be producing units in a timely manner, which is, well, units and buildings, which to me is more valuable than simple 5 commerce per turn. Isabel, where did you put your frigate? Where did you put your friggin' frigate? The ironclad is a very slow unit. I think it has 2 movement points. It's about like the galley of the ancient. Are you building a farm? Yeah. It's like the galley of the ancient times. How close are we to being unhappy in the city? 1 happiness away. So what can we do? I do not think we have dye. So how are we going to get more happiness in the city? Well, maybe we can find somebody to trade us dye. Let's take a look. Resources. Elizabeth will give me dye, of all people. I think she's the only one who has dye available. Oh no, the Indian Empire. Okay, let's see if he will give us some dye. Saladin is his worst enemy, but I'm not too worried about that. I wonder if he'd trade it for marble. No, he does not value marble very much. What about pig? Okay, he will accept it for pig, and we will agree to that. So our city should be a bit happier now, and if they have theaters in them, they will be +2 happy instead of just +1. So that works. Sufficient amount. Oh, look at that. I see what you're doing now, Ragnar. You are trying to take over and kill stuff here. We're going to build a ship of the line in Rome, 1 turn, and we're going, hopefully, to beat Ragnar's frigate. Yeah, I do not want Ragnar messing around around Rome. I have a lot of tiles, sea tiles here that are used to great benefit of the city. I mean, look. 2 food, 2 hammers, and 3 commerce on each of them. And he can go in there and pillage my fish and then blockade the entire sea-based resources. The Indian Empire wants scientific method. Sure, take it. Hey, isn't this funny? The Chinese are offering me democracy, and I'm offering them communism. There is something ironic about that, isn't there? I'll take it. We've finished researching assembly line, which gives us access to the infantry now, as well as the factory as a building, which increases the productivity of the city if it has power. Well, it increases the productivity of the city even without power by 25%, but it's most significant with power. But it introduces some unhealthiness to the city, and it also is required to build a coal plant. Yeah, and we can also build a Pentagon as a world wonder. So now we can build infantry. Yeah, since the Chinese already built the Statue of Liberty, I guess that's why they were willing to trade that away. Usually they aren't too willing. 330 gold to upgrade all these units to infantry. Let's do that. And infantry actually enjoy a nice bonus against gunpowder units such as riflemen. What are our odds with our new ship of the line? 96%. Okay. Unfortunately, we are starving now because what's his name pillaged my fishing boats. The Vikings pillaged my fishing boats. But we took care of that. Okay, we've subdued the possibility for revolt in that city. Both of these cities are now good in terms of pacifying them, keeping them under control. Bordeaux, my city. What is Isabel researching? She's researching combustion. Probably not the most advisable tech to research. She probably should have been beelining for this research that I have, which is what? Assembly line. And we killed Isabel's frigate there. So what do we want to research next? If we research railroad, we can build railroads. But what? There might be something actually more useful than this. If we go for industrialism, we can build tanks, which I kind of like the idea of. I think I'm going to go for physics, so we can get a start on that. I know Louis researched physics a long time ago, so I'm falling a bit behind in terms of that technology. So we can start building factories now, but they're going to introduce a lot of unhealthiness. So I think the levy would actually be more beneficial. I mean, if we look, the mod is telling me how much I'm going to benefit from these buildings. The levy will give me 8 hammers per turn additional, and the factory will only give me 6 hammers per turn additional, and I'm going to have to incur a +3 unhealthiness penalty. So obviously, the levy in this situation is the more desirable of the two, and we can adopt emancipation now. Really no great benefit to that, and I already like case system because it gives me an additional hammer from the workshop. Universal suffrage would give us +1 hammer from towns, but I don't have as many towns as I used to because I converted some of them into workshops. I think we're going to stick with representation for right now. It is giving us a lot of happiness into cities that need it most. So, 3 units in that city. That's not too good for her. But it's going to take us a bit to bombard this down. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to save this for the next turn. Oh, you guys do know best, don't you? That's why you keep selecting them, and I really wanted you to select the cannons. We can build some more banks, so that way when we want to, we can build Wall Street. And here we have our first infantry in Kiev. Our first home-built infantry. The other ones were all upgraded. 2 infantry from riflemen. Let's start building infantry in Rome, I think. I really want to take Santiago before we complete this. 4% defense left. Let's get rid of that. And then we're going to start reducing. We're going to start causing some collateral damage there. All of these units are considered throwaway. Okay. That way our good units... Louis has been captured by the Spanish Empire. Well, dang it. The problem with my vassals losing cities is that if it happens too much, they can actually leave my my overlordship, my feudalship. Because the idea is that I'm not protecting them. And that does it. Install a new governor, yes indeed. Yeah, so what I was going to say here, the French Empire lost a city. Now, how much land do they have of the original? They have 90% of their original land. If that land drops down to 50% of their original land, they can break free of me. In addition to the prerequisites above, which involve them being more successful than me. For population, if they have 50% of my population plus 50% of my land, then they would be able to break free. The third condition is like the opposite, where they start losing land, and then they can also be free. So, you know, there are ways for vassal states who have capitulated to you to actually regain their sovereignship. But in this case, it's not going to be too big of an issue because I think the war with Isabel should be tied up pretty soon. 2 riflemen in here, I think we can do this. What are the odds? Okay, first, let's just tidy these up here. You guys go in there and fortify. Everybody else just sleep here. Just, you know, stop bothering me right now. Stop bothering me. Stop. I want to do something, guys. Everybody here wake up. Everybody, good. We're going to focus on this next. If you don't mind, game, stop auto-cycling through my units. What are the odds? Good. That cavalry won. And that cavalry won as well. Okay, so we have Bordeaux back. Excellent. So Spain has pretty much been chased out of Europe, but it looks like we're going to have to take Madrid over here on the northern coast of Africa to get rid of these annoying borders. But will she capitulate? Will Isabel capitulate? She will. Maybe we want to do that. See, that's the thing. I mean, I was talking about controlling all of Europe, which means I might want to take a couple of her cities up here, but she's willing to capitulate now. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, I'm not interested in dragging this out longer than it needs to be. So let's we'll accept that. Excellent. And as you can see, my borders dominate hers now. And now we can actually make deals with the Viking Empire. Unfortunately, he doesn't have many cities. Oh, he's furious now. The war is going badly for us. Well. He will capitulate as well. Okay, so let's accept that. Excellent. What does everybody think of me now, though? That's one of the dangers. Only a -2 for the vassals, because how many vassals do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I now have 5 vassals under my protectorate, and I'm only incurring a -2 penalty to diplomatic relations for having so many. So I think that pretty much concludes it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. As always, we did manage to get rid of Spain in Europe, and they have capitulated as well. So we are down to just a few civilizations that we're going to have to remove before we actually win. What are the winning conditions at the moment? Not too good. We have 15 rivals left. 5 of the rivals we have are vassaled. So that means 10 to go. But thank you very much for watching as always, and I hope to see you next time.